Hello and welcome to week 10 of Wine Wednesdays with Cave B Estate Winery. I'm Freddie Arredondo, winemaker at Cave B, and behind the camera is Carrie Arredondo, our marketing events manager. What's our question this week, Carrie?
Hello everyone. So our question this week comes from Mike Smith from Portland, Oregon. Mike Smith wants to know about our different stainless steel tanks here at Cave B Estate Winery, which is why we are here in our production facility. There's a series of 6 questions, Freddie, so I will just start with the first one.
All right.
The first one is, what are wine tanks made out of?
So wine tanks can be made out of a bunch of different things. Here at Cave B, we only have stainless steel tanks, but wine tanks can actually be made out of wood. Like there's big oak wood tanks. We don't have any here. And tanks are also made out of concrete sometimes too. Also, there are clay amphora are being used now too to age wine in. We don't have any clay amphora. I've played around with the idea of bringing some in just to mess around, but so far not yet. So right now we only have stainless steel tanks.
Wonderful. And his second question from Mike is, how many tanks do you have here at Cave B?
So we have 22 tanks, and they range in size from a little over 4,000 gallons to about 350 gallons.
Is there a reason for the different sizes?
Yeah, so we want to have different size wine tanks because we want the tank to be the appropriate size for what we're putting into the tank, whether it be juice at harvest when we're first pressing off, or if it's wine that we're going to be processing wine into.
Do you have the ability to control the temperature on the tanks?
Yeah, so every tank is temperature controlled. So if you look up here, this is a thermostat with the wires to it. This is the lead that has the thermostat reader inside of the tank. There's a probe that goes into the middle of the tank, almost in the middle, and it measures the tank temperature at about halfway in the tank. And then the temperature is adjusted here. On the back of the tank, there are valves that open and close depending on the temperature that we want the tank set at.
Did you say, Freddie, what temperature that is?
I did not say, but the temperature varies depending on where the wine is and where it is in its stage. During fermentation, our white wines are typically fermented at about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and so which is really cool. That's a very, very slow, cool fermentation. And then once we get through fermentation, I knock the temperature down to retain all of those fermentation esters and phenols in solution, and we kind of keep that bright, crisp aromatic in the wine.
Nice. Okay, so one of his other questions from Mike was, he was wondering which of the Cave B wines go into the tanks?
So for the white wines, all of the white wines are actually made in tank except for our Chardonnay and Semillon. Well, barrel fermented Chardonnay and barrel fermented Semillon. We also make an unoaked Chardonnay, so that one's done in tank. So all of our white wines are made in tanks. Every single one of our wine goes into tank at one point or another. But for the reds, it's usually for a very short period of time when we're racking, when we're doing that kind of thing, and taking the clean wine out of the barrels, cleaning the barrels, and then it goes back into the barrel, or just before bottling too. So every single wine goes into a tank at some point. It's just a matter of how long it's in that tank. And like I said, for reds, it's a very short period of time, usually only a couple of weeks. For white wines, they're actually, most of them, except for the barrel fermented Chardonnay and Semillon, are actually fermented and aged, for lack of a better term, in stainless steel tanks.
That's a lot of great information, Freddie, on the tanks here at Cave B. Do you have anything else that you want to add? Those are all the questions from Mike.
Well, thanks, Mike, for sending the questions, and we'll see you guys next week.